What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 82 of the Lost Media Podcast. Today we're talking about the Max Headroom incident. I know, guys, it's another video on YouTube talking about this topic. I actually get very frustrated when I'm scrolling through YouTube and all of a sudden in my recommended is another video about the Max Headroom incident. It's like, I know everything there is to know about this topic. Why would I want to watch another video on this? Why can't I make another video to annoy other people with the same annoyance I had with this? I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. But I do know a great deal about this topic. This was a hijacking that happened on the night of November 22nd, 1987 on a Chicago news channel, popular Chicago channel. Now, I'm not very familiar with American TV channels, so I'm sorry that I don't know the exact KTL or KTX or whatever the hell the channel is called. It happened on 2 different television stations, is what it says here on the Lost Media Wiki. I have the Lost Media Wiki out here as a little reference for a few facts that I might need to get right, because it is very important that I get things right. But the first airing is the lost media that is still lost today, and that is the audio from what is presumably a pre-recorded video done by a dude who's filming essentially from his garage. But this is one of the most amazing mysteries in television history. In fact, you could argue it is one of the best mysteries in television history, or the best, because this random dude decided to imitate Max Headroom from his garage in a really tacky Max Headroom mask and with a really crap background that was moving around to mimic Max Headroom. I should get to the real basics of this. Max Headroom was a character from the 1980s that was super popular in America, and I think in the UK as well, and maybe Australia. And he was kind of a satirical take on a futuristic AI-generated being that was just making, crass, funny jokes about popular things. But one of the big letdowns of Max Headroom fans was that he decided to sell out and become the spokesperson for Coke. I think it was New Coke, actually, but it was Coca-Cola at least. And it was Catch the Wave. So this dude, you never know. This is a different perspective maybe on this that no one else has said, which is what I like doing here on the Lost Media Podcast with topics that have already been widely covered on YouTube and the internet. He might have been pissed off with his hero Max Headroom selling out. The one guy you wouldn't expect to sell out in popular media at the time, who made some really cool jokes and was really funny with his little segments. Very different to what was on television at the time. I know that Max Headroom was ahead of its time. The character, the dude who played Max Headroom is in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I think, and Lawnmower Man 2 behind cyberspace or whatever it's called. He's the lead in that. Weird reference, I know, but it's the same actor. I just don't know his name. So this guy has decided to imitate Max Headroom. Sorry if I peeked there in the mic. This is a podcast. I apologize. I can't go back and cut that out. He's gone on television in this really tacky mask. And the first... I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about it right now. That was the most autistic reaction. In my head, I just remembered what he says. Sorry, guys. He goes on screen in the sports report done by a guy named Dan. Don't know his last name. And he's talking about the Bears of some sort, some football team. And he gets interrupted with just buzzing and a Max Headroom mask moving up and down. And then after about 20 seconds, it cuts. Like, it goes away. And he's like... his reaction to it is very professional and very funny. He doesn't seem pissed off with it at all. He goes back on screen and he's like, if you're wondering what happened, so am I. And everyone's laughing in the background in studio, but behind the cameras, the control room are like, what the was that? What the hell just happened? And so that's not the last of it. This guy really takes a huge risk here. He should have been caught. He was going to get caught. There was nothing stopping this guy from getting caught. All the authorities were positive he was going to get caught. But later on in the evening, Doctor Who is airing. And he decides, you know what? Fuck it. Let's try again. And in a different recording to the original one, he starts talking. And I can't remember all the dialogue off by heart, but I'll try my best. He goes on screen and he goes, ha, that does it. He's a freaking nerd. I think I'm better than Chuck Swartzky. I think he was a programming director for the channel at the time. And then he has the Coke can and he flicks it towards the thing, goes, catch the wave. And then it's so off the cuff. It doesn't feel like a pre-recorded thing. It actually feels like he's doing it live to air because he sounds very nervous in his voice, like he's going to get caught and he's really taking a huge risk here. He's like, oh, my files. And I noticed this the first time I saw it, actually. His voice sounds like, oh, fuck, why am I doing this? I'm in so much trouble if I get caught. I'm going to prison for a long time. And he starts humming a theme to a TV show. And he's humming the Clutch Cargo theme. And this has been analyzed, which is a 50s TV show where they just had pictures, animated pictures, and people's mouth movements. It was done with really cheap, no animation, just really cheap production. It's been over-analyzed to shit, this. People wondering, oh, what's each message of each thing he's saying? There's nothing relevant or important. This guy's just having a good time. He's just having a laugh. It's just a satirical take on modern entertainment. That's the most I could get from this, with him going, catch the wave, and flicking it, like taking the piss at how everything's commercialized. Even the most sacred of modern media, or the most entertaining of modern media, still is a sellout to modern commercialization. I think that's the point of it. And look, that's the most I'm going to overanalyze it, because people have gone, why did he hum Clutch Cargo? Why did he do that? Oh, why did a girl whack his fake ass in picture? I actually don't think it's his real ass at the end. Oh, by the way, guys, I should just say at the end, this maid, it doesn't show her face on screen. A girl in a maid's costume starts fly swatting his buttocks, which looks like a rubber buttocks. Looks like a rubber ass. It doesn't look like his actual ass unless he shaved. And it's hilarious. It's funny. It goes off screen and that's it. We're back to Doctor Who. The next day, pandemonium ensues. If you watch the news headlines, which is probably playing behind me along with the intrusion, people have varying reactions. There's like little kids who are like, it was funny, I liked it. And then there's parents who are like, that was shocking for my kids to see that when we're just trying to sit down and watch Doctor Who and have a nice night in. And then there's a girl who's like, she like wants to kill. She looks like she wants to murder the dude who did this. She's like, I thought it was going to go away and I thought it was part of the show, but nah, it was just stupid. She seems like she's like passive aggressive to shit when they interview her. There's a dude who works at the FCC who seems like one of the higher up dudes who seems super confident this guy's going to be caught. He's like, you know what? He did this twice. He's using some pretty sophisticated equipment, and they go on to reveal that this guy's actually overrun the antenna at the top of the Sears Tower, which at that time was the tallest building in the US and one of the tallest buildings in the world. This guy's overran one of the most powerful antennas there is in the entire world. No one knows how he's done it. No one knows where he's done it from. No one knows his identity. And you know what? No one ever found out who he was. Never. No one ever discovered this guy's identity. And still to this day, no one had a clue. No one has no idea. Which is gold, in my opinion. It's gold, and I hope no one ever figures it out. I hope it's a mystery forever, because it's hilarious. The actual event isn't that funny. He's just taking the piss. I think he's doing it off the cuff. I think it's a live broadcast. I don't think there's anything pre-recorded. There is a theory with the lost media portion, and this is the lost media podcast, as I mentioned again. I like focusing on the lost media portions of things. The first one done in the news bulletin of the sportscast, of the sports news, the sportscasters talking about. The first one just has buzzing. and presumably he's doing some sort of, he's saying something, and the buzzing is going over the top of it. I actually think they failed to connect the audio to what he was saying, and they were doing it live. That's my opinion. A lot of people believe they're two pre-recorded recordings that they just beamed. I know it sounds ridiculous that he'd go live. I'm just looking at like how nervous he was and how he was trying to like figure out everything. And he goes, "Oh, my files." And I think that's a reference to something as well, actually, by the way, but I don't quite remember what that's a reference to. Yeah, I think it's not legitimate at all in terms of having actual audio attached to it, the original one. And people propose in the Lost Media Wiki, the person who wrote it says the only way this is ever going to be released is if the hijacker releases it, and that risks his identity also being released, which he'd still get in big trouble if it was like 40 or 50 years later, because they're so fucking stingy, the FCC. They're shit organization. Everyone knows that. They're garbage. Jeez, I sound really sorry, guys. I sound really angry there. I sound like that girl being interviewed, passive aggressive as fuck. That was just aggressive. If he came out and said, "Hey guys, that was me," and he shows all the props, shows what he used to record it, and it all matches the videos, and he says, "Yeah, I'm this and such and this is my real name and full name, and this is how old I am now," he'd get jail time still. I'm convinced. The FCC would be like, fuck you. I don't care how long it's been. So this guy's never going to reveal it was him. Props. All I can say is these seem like young people doing this. That's the vibe I got. Feels like they're college kids. And the theories for many years, people thought they figured out who this was. By like 2015, through this massive Reddit post, someone's like, "I think I know who was behind the Max Headroom incident. This guy was saying at college, 'Oh, I'm planning this really big thing and it's going to be huge and you're going to see it soon.'" And then the Max Headroom incident happened, and that guy never heard much from that college friend again. I think it's a massive coincidence. I don't think it's that person at all. Sorry for being skeptical. Sometimes I believe different things that come up on the internet, but a lot of what that guy writes in his post has no match to the real event. There's like bits and pieces that are like, holy shit, this might be the person. And then you look at other pieces and it's like, oh, that doesn't match what happened in the Max Headroom incident at all. And it also makes no sense that this guy could overrun the Sears Towers antenna. The guy said he was messing around with a lot of television broadcasting equipment, doing like little shows at his college TV section. The little branch of television they had at his college and their little public access area. But I don't think a kid would be able to pull this off. I actually think, it might not be a kid that did this. It might be an adult, but it really looks like a much older person. It does seem like it's someone young. And yeah, it's hilarious. This person must have been so satisfied, but also must have been living in fear. I think the person who did this regrets it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say the person who did this hates it, regrets it, and has lived in a little bit of fear since 1987, and is probably still alive, I think. Definitely would be still alive. But they haven't been able to probably enjoy their life as much because they're a bit concerned that they're going to get caught. I'm getting a spam phone call. You're on the mic. What's your beef? You're on the mic. What's your beef? Hey, you're live at the moment. I can't answer this call, sorry, because I'm live on the air. I accidentally gave out my phone number once in an online thing that I thought was real. I'm not going to go into it. It's fucking embarrassing. It was last year. I think it was earlier this year. And ever since then, my phone number's everywhere now. It's fucking ruined it. It's a disaster. That's probably one of my favorite moments on the Lost Media podcast. And I'm not disappointed with the way I hung up on her. Usually I just hang up on them. I go, hey, I can't hear. I'm a fucking asshole when I'm talking to telemarketers. But I know that she's got my phone number from that thing, because before that happened, I didn't get any spam phone calls from any companies. anywhere. They couldn't get a hold of my phone number before I did that. And then I decided to just include my phone number and email address in something I thought was a legit competition of sorts. And yeah, really freaking disappointing. That's so funny that on the podcast, first of all, it's 7:30 at night and you're freaking calling me on a Wednesday night, out here on a Wednesday night. I'm trying to talk about the Max Headroom incident and this person is calling me. That's funny as. I was not going to answer that. That was ringing for like 20 seconds. Anyway, guys, I got to continue on with the Max Headroom incident because there's more information I want to talk about to do with this. There's more news reports I really would like to find about this. There's definitely got to be so many more. I'd love them to be discovered more than the original audio because it's a miracle if that gets released. I don't think it will be. I've said that like 50 fucking times. Sorry, guys. It won't be released. That's my final word on it. The original Sportscaster audio, because I don't think it's real. I don't think there is audio. But yeah, already said that. So it's the news reports from other stations around the same time that I would love to get my hands on. I'd love to watch those. That's the lost media to do with the Max Headroom incident that should be uncovered. So it's different perspectives on it from the time. Because I've seen so many YouTubers, so many YouTube videos covering this. And I apologize for dogpiling on this topic. It's just something I'm really knowledgeable about. So I figured I haven't done a lot of research recently for lost media topics, and it just was a massive coincidence that this and Captain Midnight both were something that that had lost media. I didn't think they'd have lost media associated with them. So Max Headroom, I'm going to talk about the last few things that I remember from my research on this. And that is that someone thought, I think once, that they caught the culprit and weren't able to prove that they were the culprit. I'm not sure if it was someone from the FCC or from some sort of legal authority, but that has happened. And I think it was around the time this happened, and it just became this never-ending search for them because they could never get enough evidence, obviously, to figure out who did it. That is just, it's one of the funniest things. It just is so funny. It's hilarious that they got away with it. When I was a kid, I definitely liked the original Broadcast Intrusion a lot more. Now, when I look back on it, I think that it's the same thing this person would feel like. It seems so pointless. For what it's worth, I don't think the person who did this realized the hassle it would cause them, like I've said. Trying to remember different details on this. In doing that, I'm actually just repeating the same shit I've already said on the podcast. And that phone call was probably the highlight of this podcast, talking about a topic that everyone's heard about to death. I hope you guys got some cool more info about the Max Headroom incident. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love talking about lost media to do with broadcast intrusions. It's really fun to talk about on the podcast. I might do it some more. We'll see how we go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. That was episode 82 of the Lost Media podcast. I've got more coming. They're every 2 days for a very long time. I think I'm going to get to episode 98 or episode 97, and then I'm going to pause the Lost Media podcast for a little while. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to do the pause button on the TV. What the fuck am I doing, man? Trying to get in the corner of the screen like you would when you press pause on it. This is fucking awful. This is so shit. End this podcast. End it.